right. Thanks. I just have to you could just go okay.
Welcome to the Healthy with Heartland podcast, the show built around bringing value to the Mid-Atlantic and growing. We're committed to helping families eating cleaner, safer, healthier foods. I'm Matt Balducci, TEDx speaker, ex-bodybuilder, husband, father, and I want to welcome our co-host, the Sultan of Sourcing, the Bavette barista himself, Jay Money, Justin.
What up, Matt? How you doing, Matt?
Good. How was hockey last night, my man?
Exhausting.
Oh, yeah. So Justin plays hockey on Wednesday nights, so he's probably on like 1 hour of sleep. So
something like that, yeah.
Which is impressive. So we're super excited, guys. Today we have a special guest, and we'll talk about them in a second. We actually have two special guests, which we're super, super fired up. They are Stephanie and Todd. They run the Miller Method, but we'll get into that here in a second. I'm going to pass the baton over to Simon and Shannon to make some announcements.
All right. Welcome back to the podcast, Heartland family. A few quick announcements. If you haven't already, make sure to follow us on Facebook. Make sure to check out all of our podcast recaps. They're posted on YouTube, so youtube.com/heartlandhomefoods. We have an amazing reorder special. I'm sure you've already heard of it. But we are doing a whole turkey, which is going to come absolutely free with your order if you place it this month before the end of November. So check that out. We've also expanded to Pittsburgh, so that's really exciting for us. And if you have anyone to refer, we would love to get them set up. You can check us out at heartlandfoods.com/refer and add up those bonus bucks to get your free order. I will now pass it back over to Matt and Justin, and we'll get started with today's podcast. We're super excited to have Stephanie and Todd.
Awesome. So basically, guys, I want to give Stephanie and Todd their introduction. So, one of the cool things is we met Stephanie and one of our wellness consultants, Becca, went out and met with Stephanie. I think it's been 2 months or 3 months ago now. And sat down, went over Heartland Foods, and she became a client of ours. And then they started talking a little bit about what they do on the back end. I believe Todd is connected to our Becca's husband, which is really, really cool, just kind of how things work out. And, we set up a meeting and we started discussing their backgrounds. And, to be very frank with everyone that's listening, we were just taken aback by the success they've had as well as the success their clients have had using their method, which is the Miller Method. But just to give a quick background, both Stephanie and Todd have over 20 years of experience in exercise physiology. And so Todd is, from a standpoint of successful, he's been wildly successful. He actually is a professor of exercise and nutrition science. I would consider him an expert in exercise physiology. He's worked with athletes at the collegiate level, which is phenomenal. I played college baseball as well, and I know what that's like working with those types of egos. And he also right now currently runs a weight loss lab currently at GW. And that's, as you guys can hear, just phenomenal background from an expert standpoint. So we're excited for you guys to hear from him. And then Stephanie, again, 20 plus years of weight management experience working with all populations, but she does specialize in sports medicine, again, working with athletes specifically, but they have taken to the next step of basically being able to help anyone with their weight loss goals. And I'm not going to, steal too much of their thunder today, but basically they built a business wrapped around what's called the Miller Method. Obviously, Todd Miller is his last name, so it's named after him, which is phenomenal. So he's the creator of this. And I got an opportunity to chat a little bit about how it all works. But just to give the background really quick on that, and then I'll let Justin take over with some questions. But the Miller Method is a approach to weight loss. It's not your mom's diet plan. I love that line because a lot of times out there, as everyone knows, diets are the fad, right? There's so many different ways that you can try to lose weight, but it's all about sustainability and lifestyle and being able to actually live the way you want to live and still enjoy the things you want to enjoy, but doing it healthily, in a healthy way. But so they focus a lot on body composition and metabolism optimization to improve your overall health. And a lot of times people think fat loss is losing weight, but in reality it's not. It's not weight loss, right? And so they provide a dietary and exercise program that promotes true fat loss and muscle gain. And again, I want the key term there for muscle gain, which is vitally important to the success of fat loss and weight loss. And, they also check your health markers, which I think is awesome. They use science, as you guys heard in their backgrounds. Experts in, Todd's an expert in exercise physiology, and Stephanie is an expert in nutrition. To combine together, they have built this amazing platform and business to help hundreds, if not thousands, of people in their fitness journey. So with that, I'm going to pass over the mic. I just want to say thank you, Todd and Stephanie, for joining us, and welcome aboard. Are you guys ready?
Yeah, we're ready. Thanks for having us.
Awesome. So Justin,
What an intro.
Yeah. So if you want to take it back, Justin here, and start asking some questions, man.
Yeah. So let's start with the big picture, the concept behind the Miller method, how it came to be, and what the foundation is.
Well, yeah, certainly. We started the Miller method probably about 7 years ago, and it really started as a function of my opening the weight management lab at GW. And as soon as I opened that lab, I then contacted Stephanie. So right from the inception of the Miller method, we've been working together. And essentially what we do that I think is most different from most other weight management programs is that we really take a very objective sort of approach in that we like to measure people's metabolisms to actually know exactly how many calories they're burning per day. We like to measure body composition very accurately with a machine called a DEXA scanner. And that tells us how much fat somebody has and how much muscle somebody has. And knowing those two pieces of information helps us create a nutrition prescription that's tailored specifically to that person's metabolism and body composition. So by doing that, we really remove a lot of the initial guesswork that most people go through when they create these dietary or nutrition prescriptions, because a lot of them are just kind of, well, this is what I do. So
more holistic.
Yeah, if I do this, then I'm going to lose weight, or if I start eating this way, I'm going to lose weight. If I start eating this way, well, it's not as simple as just changing what you're eating. That might work if you kind of get lucky, but it also might not work, and it often doesn't work. So, we've seen people you can take two people who undertake the same eating style. One of them, they lose fat, the other one, they gain fat, and then, they don't know why. Well, we know why. So what we do is try and eliminate all that guesswork right out of the gate so that people get success right from the start, so that they're more likely to adhere to those things long term.
Yeah, it's basically undoing a diet mentality and trying to build sustainable behaviors that not only improve their health and improve the body composition, but allow them to live their life and eat the things that they like to eat, just in portions or quantities or ratios that work for them.
That's phenomenal. So one of your key concepts here says fast loss is not fat loss. So tell us a little bit about what that means.
So fast loss isn't fat loss. Essentially, the way that we sort of define weight loss success in the world today is how fast can you lose weight?
Scale.
How fast can you get it off, right? And if you look at commercials like Weight Watchers does this all the time. If you look at a Weight Watchers commercial, they'll say things like, you can lose 16 pounds in 16 weeks. And one of the things that really, one of the drivers behind their messages, if you do this, you'll lose weight fast. And that may be true, but the truth is, the faster you lose weight, the less likely that weight is to be from fat.
Right.
And the more likely it is to be from muscle. So when any type of intervention, dietary, exercise, whatever it is, if that results in very rapid weight loss, the faster that weight comes off, two things, the less likely it is to be from fat, and the more likely you are to gain it back quickly. Okay. So, and that's sort of accepted in the weight loss world, even among researchers, that they define success of a weight loss program as to how fast the weight actually comes off. But then we'll turn around right away and say 98% of people won't be able to keep this off. So wasn't there a program, I don't want to bash any commercial program, but there was a program where there were commercials going around saying, it worked for me before, so I'm going to do it again. It was Jenny Craig.
Right.
That's
a problem.
Right. No, it didn't work.
You shouldn't be doing it again.
Right. So if it works if it works to get weight loss, if it works to get weight off, that's one thing. Okay, but you're only halfway there, right? The other half is keeping it off, right? So yeah, you can come up with prescriptions all day long that can result in fast weight loss, and people are generally really, oh great, you put a picture of me benching 25 pounds. All right, hold on a second. I have a shoulder injury here, and you're putting up a picture of me benching 95 pounds. All right, anyway.
He's much stronger
What does
than
the
that.
caption say under that picture? It says something about I normally don't lift 95 pounds. All right, anyway.
Why is Todd on this thing?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Okay, so anyway.
Basically, yeah.
Right. So when we look, our approach to weight loss is getting the weight off is really only half the battle, and it's not even really the important part. The important part is getting your body composition optimized and staying there basically forever, permanently, right? And that requires some specific, not terribly difficult, but some specific dietary changes that have to be in place.
Right.
And those things we think require certain things. You need to measure things. You need to know how many calories you actually need. You need to know what your protein fat distribution should be in order to optimize your nutrition plan. And it's not about restricting calories as much as you can and starving yourself, because we know, as I said, yeah, that'll take weight off, but the faster it comes off, the faster it comes back on. And that's been shown time and time again. So our approach to weight loss is one, and we don't even like saying weight loss. The only reason we say that is so that it gets found in searches and stuff like that. We really talk about fat loss, right? But when you Google fat loss, you don't get any hits because everybody's looking for weight loss. So we have to call it weight loss, but we're really talking about body composition optimization.
Wow.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So I was in the gym business for a while, and I know one of the key components is lean muscle, and again, when you guys say fat loss and body composition, most people out there don't know this, but, it's really all about how much lean muscle you actually have for longevity purposes, as well as continued weight loss and continued, keeping the weight off. Especially this is coming from a guy who's yo-yoed in my life probably 4 times. So, and I've been I'm going to reach out and get my body comp done with, DEXA.
Hold on, Matt.
Yeah.
You haven't done it yet?
Not yet. Trust me, if you saw my schedule, I'm making an excuse currently right now.
Excuse-itis right here.
Excuse-itis, but if you saw my schedule, I need to get in there. I've dropped 6 pounds and maintained my lean muscle. So I'm at like 176 of lean muscle right now. So, and then I'm about 219, and I lost about 5 or 6 pounds in the last 3 weeks. So, but it's simply been based on.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, no congratulations. Probably just shouldn't have got there in the first place, right, Yo-Yo? Sure. But the key is, you guys already know this, is to keep the muscle on. But I'm definitely gonna make some time during November to go out there and get this done, because I want to see what is going on, especially from a metabolism test. I am getting my microbiome tested, and I sent in a hair sample to get some allergy stuff done too. So once I get all this back, I'm gonna basically adjust how I eat based on all the different factors. So that way, my guess is that I'm probably a little bit gluten intolerant, from the standpoint of the inflammation I get from eating any type of gluten or dairy. So, but I'm not 100. I don't know. So that's why you guys being experts in exercise physiology and nutrition is phenomenal, right? So that we can utilize your brain. So, but perfect. So with that, a couple of things I love was just undoing the diet mentality. I think that the world, right, it's sold the diets, right? Because it's the easiest way, right? Everybody wants the quick fix. Everyone wants the that super fast weight loss like you guys talked about, but it's really challenging to stay consistent, right? So, tell us a little bit about, how you guys use, consistency, or how do you get people to essentially maintain their weight loss, Stephanie or Todd, with your program? Because obviously, like you said, Jenny Craig or whatever it is, we all know is a yo-yo fad, right? Where and again, there's success out there, don't get me wrong, like always, but there is a high likelihood that people are going to put it back on. It's simply because they're no longer in that program. So how do you guys, stop that so they're not necessarily needing the Miller method for the next 10 years to maintain it?
Yeah, so the one thing that we say all the time is the strategy that you adopt to change your body or improve your body composition is going to be the exact same strategy that you follow to maintain it. It's just that simple. And
that's where most diets fail, is that they give you something that you can do short term that's going to result in rapid weight loss. But the reason it's short term is because it's unsustainable, right? So if I take up a diet that forces me to eat 1,000 calories, but my metabolism is 16 or 1700, well, then I'm going to be in this massive calorie deficit throughout the day, which will lead to rapid weight loss. But I'm also going to be starving. I'm going to lose a lot of muscle mass, and I'm not going to be able to maintain it long term. So you then, when that program is over, because whatever program you're participating in doesn't prep you for what happens when it's over, you don't know what to do when it's over, so you just go back to your normal lifestyle and you just gain all this weight right back, right? So what we do is say, okay, rather than give you something extreme that's going to result in rapid weight loss, let's give you something that's appropriate for your metabolism so that that calorie deficit is not so huge, so that you can maintain your muscle, but more importantly, you can maintain the eating style because you're not starving all the time. And as a result of that, like Steph says, you're eating appropriately, and that style is not going to change. What it means, though, is that rather than losing 10 pounds in 2 weeks, you might only lose 3 pounds in 2 weeks.
Be much slower.
But you'll actually lose, maybe you lose 3 pounds of fat, but gain 5 pounds of muscle in that process or something like that, right? So the scale, what's reflected on the scale doesn't necessarily mean that, or not having a huge weight loss on the scale doesn't mean that you're not successful, right? Like if I gain, let's say I take up an eating strategy and I gain 5 pounds of weight, but all of that weight comes from muscle. I'm leaner then. My body fat percentage has fallen because now I have more muscle, okay?
And you feel that too. You
Right.
feel that in your clothes,
So,
but you don't see it on the scale.
right.
And
So
that messes with people's heads.
absolutely messes with people's heads. So for an example, like this is a normal response for a client might be, let's say we come in and we weigh them. And we normally weigh people in addition to measuring body composition, but this is the reason we do it. Let's say we weigh them and they're 150 pounds, and then they come back and they're 153 pounds 3 weeks later. Okay, if they were just getting on the scale, they're gonna say, I gained 3 pounds, right? But what did I say they were 150?
150.
What if they lost 2 pounds of fat and then gained 5 pounds of muscle, right? Then they're gonna be 3 pounds heavier, right? But they're gonna be much leaner, right? So but the thing is, they would never know that if they just got on the scale, and they would think, this program isn't working because now I'm heavier than when I started. When the reality is, you lost fat, gained muscle, you're far better off from both a metabolic standpoint, from insulin, glucose control, all those things are better the more muscle that you have. And in addition to that, your metabolism fires up. It becomes it's more sustainable to eat with the intention of maintaining the metabolism and increasing muscle mass. That's relatively easy to maintain because you're not super calorie restricted.
Yeah, and I mean, the other thing that people will do is cut out foods or food groups, right? Just to elicit a result. So people might go low carb. People might do paleo.
Sugar.
Right.
I'm
going to cut out all sugar. And then the conversation with us is, well, do you like sugar? Do you like carbs? Are you going to do that for the rest of your life? Like keep it out? And we're like, well, no, I'll just add it back in once I reach my goal.
Right.
Well, that's problematic thinking,
Right.
because it means you will not sustain your result. So the goal is trying to figure out, what are my fun foods? What are the things that I like to eat on a regular basis? What are my food preferences? What's my budget? And then figuring out how the nutrition plan molds into the lifestyle. The lifestyle should not change to fit the nutrition plan, right?
Because that won't be
That's
sustainable.
not sustainable, right? We're all about sustainability, and our goal is to keep people as objective as possible, because the reality is eating and our weight and how we feel about ourselves, it's very personal, and it becomes very emotional. It's very emotional. So when people eat something that they have labeled as bad or unhealthy, they then feel guilty, right? And it becomes this like very cyclical yo-yo type of pattern where it's like, all right, well, I just won't eat that again and I'll feel better about it.
Yeah.
When the reality is, objectively, did that food cause you to go over your calories? Did that food cause you to gain fat? And like when you tell people that, they're like, well, yeah, my weight went up. people assume that scale changes are fat mass changes,
Mhm.
and that is a wrong assumption.
Plus and minus.
Plus and minus, right?
Right.
Either way, like
Yeah.
my weight went up, I gained fat. Like
Mhm.
vacations, for example.
Yeah.
I went away on vacation and I gained 7 pounds. I got fatter.
Right. And
How do you know you gained fat?
Yeah, it's so often not true. Like a lot of our clients, we're just gonna start rambling.
I know. You're gonna have to shut up.
We're just gonna let you guys roll. I mean,
You always
truth
have
be
to.
told,
Always
is-
have to. They have
Drop
one
the
question.
freaking mic, guys.
Oh, we're like a podcast. Okay, so like this happens all the time. We give because we give people our main type of exercise interventions. We give people our weight training programs because we don't want them to lose muscle. And if you do a bunch of cardio coupled with a calorie restriction, you're going to lose muscle, and then you're going to gain all your weight back, right? Because we know that muscle loss is a predictor of regain.
Right.
It's well established, right? So if we give somebody a weight training program, and they're busting their ass in the weight room and stuff, and then they go on vacation. They say, "Oh, I'm gonna get huge on vacation." We're like, "Listen, you're probably gonna get a lot of recovery. You're gonna be in a bit of a calorie
You're
surplus
resting.
because you're eating at the
Yes.
buffet and all."
Yeah.
And sure enough, they come back, and they might be 4 or 5 pounds heavier on the scale, and usually almost all of it is muscle.
Muscle, right?
Right. Because they've gotten this recovery. Now, they haven't trained during that 2 weeks, but muscle doesn't grow when
No.
it grows when you're recovering.
Right.
So you suddenly put them in a calorie surplus and give them a bunch of rest, and boom, they come back leaner than when they
Right.
left. Right.
Right.
I love it. I love it. So, I mean, guys, that if you're listening to this podcast right now, one, they're just talking surface level knowledge, which is phenomenal. And I wish we had 3 hours today just to go into the exercise physiology and the science, which is stuff that I am extremely passionate about, spend a lot of time studying, and obviously picking, Todd and Stephanie's brain and being able to actually go into the minutia of how it all works from a metabolic standpoint all the way down to, why you should be eating X, Y, and Z. I think it's phenomenal, and sustainability from behind the scenes. But I do want to make the announcement, coming soon is the Miller Method and Heartland Foods are going to be partnering together, where our clients out there can access Stephanie and Todd for a discounted rate up front to essentially learn more about how the Miller Method works. And then vice versa, anybody that works with Stephanie and Todd can, look at Heartland, and there's no pressure, obviously, but with a discounted rate, they can come on board and get a healthier source of food. So we're getting close to the end of our segment here today, guys. But I just wanted to say, before we dive into a little bit of, the partnership, that, if you guys get an opportunity, share, like, comment, and, go find Stephanie and Todd. Go to themillermethod.com. Check them out. I'm actually going to be pursuing their program. Obviously, I've begun my own weight loss journey with a personal trainer, but I'm going to be implementing some of their metabolic tests in a DEXA scan that they haven't had a chance to discuss today. All that does on an awesome scale is basically tells you your body composition, which is vitally important to the success of weight loss, as they've discussed over and over again. And a lot of people don't know this, and I'm probably stealing Stephanie and Todd's thunder here, but from a guy who's yo-yoed multiple times, quick weight loss is horrible. And the reason it is that when you lose it, you're losing muscle at the same time. And then when you gain all your weight back, you're actually quote unquote fatter than you were previous to your weight loss at the same number on the scale. Body composition is actually the most important to pay attention to. Your lean muscle, how much fat is on your body in terms of body fat percentage. That's actually what matters for every single metric that you can imagine. If you just track those, forget the weight on the scale. And this is actually, I'm a male obviously saying this, but for all the women out there, I know that that's the hardest thing because you want to see that result. Just know that the weight does not matter. It's all about the composition. So stop paying attention to that number. Okay. I'm not paying attention to that I'm 219. I'm paying attention that I'm maintaining my 175 lean muscle mass, because if I continue with that and I drop, my body fat percentage is always going to continuously go down, which is then going to give me everything I want from my physiology. So, again, I'm pumped to have you guys as a partner of Heartland Foods. But I guess really quick, we're getting close to the end here. And I know, Stephanie, you're one of our clients. And, it was a kind of an organic meeting. And you actually decided to come on board as a client before we even had any discussions around this partnership. So why Heartland Foods? Like, why did you decide to use our service? And how can this benefit people in a combination with your guys' program?
Well, so as you mentioned, Todd knows Becca Grubrick's husband, and that's how I got connected with Becca. and Becca shared a lot of your company philosophy and just all of that fun stuff. And so she came to my house to do a food tasting. Todd was here too. So we got to experience the whole thing together. And for me,
which was great.
Right. I mean, the minute I take one bite of the chicken and I'm like, oh, this is what chicken's supposed to taste like.
What's the stuff I've been
I was
eating
like,
for the
what
past
the
50
heck
years?
have I been right? What have I been ingesting? And like,
What kind of bird is this? I feel like it's illegal. I shouldn't be eating. It's protected or something. It's like eating an eagle.
it was. I was like, oh my God, I want to preserve every last bite. I'm like,
They ship
licking
these
the
in from
plate,
Alaska?
like, trying to get every last drop. And like the burger, like the ground beef was the same way. It's like, oh, like I actually taste the meat.
Yeah.
And it was the taste. And that I was like sold, you know, because then not only does it taste good, because that's like for me, I want to like what I'm eating. I want to enjoy what I'm eating. And Todd and I have noticed a lot of changes in commercially like sold meat, like what you find in a traditional food store. Or grocery store. Sorry, people make fun of me because I call it a food store. It's a store where you buy.
That's what it really is, you know.
Right.
Anyway, we had noticed a lot of changes in the quality of the meat, but you just kind of keep going because it's like, well, what am I going to do? What are my actions? And plus, like for me personally, I'm a single mom of 2 kids, and I have a budget. And so I can't afford to go buy the highest quality meat in a grocery store or food store all the time. So that's why Heartland, like for me, I'm going to sound like a sales pitch, but I swear to God, I'm just talking like very honestly here. It was like the perfect blend of really good tasting food with high quality nutritional content. And that's the other thing. Like I've gone through all the nutrition information on pretty much every single product. We were even doing that when Becca was here.
We were, yeah.
We were going through, and because the quality is so high, there's higher protein content in almost every single product.
Yeah.
So you're getting higher quality protein sources, which is so important for body composition. Todd and I talk about the quality of protein all the time. Yeah,
which we didn't talk about at all. But when you're calorie restricted and when you're doing resistance training, and that's what we do. It's in order to maintain that metabolism, elevate that, your protein needs increase dramatically.
Right.
So, especially if you're getting that from food, you know, you don't want to be eating fatty cuts of meat and things like that.
Protein quality is lower.
Right. So the options that Heartland provides are fantastic to accomplish those goals compared to what's in the grocery store.
Yeah.
Right.
So just really high quality of pretty much so many things. And even like some of the red meats, there's lots of leaner options. Like beefalo, for example, is very lean.
Yeah, where are you going to get that?
I
know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's
like,
the only place
so good.
Right.
It's so good, but it's really lean. And it's nice to have that option instead of always eating chicken or always eating fish. So yeah, that's why.
I love it. Thanks for the, the sales pitch. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I mean, the cool part, guys, is I just want everyone out there to understand is that, this wasn't, Stephanie came onto our service just as a traditional client, and ultimately it led into, this organic partnership, which we're super excited about.
That's very critical about things, in case you don't know that. Being a dietitian, like anytime you say, hey, Steph, try that. Oh, no. She's got to like pull out she'll get out like these books and start looking up ingredients, be all critical. And, so she's one of those, which is good. That's what we want.
I have very high standards.
Yeah, which is awesome. And again, you from what you described, super, budget, busy mom, right? Super busy, professional, successful, on a budget and wants high quality foods and a health conscious. That's our target demo, which is really cool. So if that's you out there, just reach out to us, set up an in home, or we can come out and cook for you or do a virtual appointment. And obviously anybody that's listening that's a client of ours, send referrals over. We have a phenomenal ambassador program coming out, which is going to be titled the Eat Free for Life program. And we'll be sitting down with some of you guys here over the next few months to help you guys basically eat free for life. So with that, guys, we're super fired up about the partnership. I just want to say thank you so much. Obviously, again, we could spend hours on this topic. I'm a nut when it comes to how your biology essentially functions for brain and health and longevity. But from a basic standpoint, what most people want to understand is, again, how do you stay lean? How do you stay healthy? How do you feel good? How do you look good when you're naked, right? All those different things that we all truly care about, but we don't want to say it out loud. And so, and that's really what this is all about. What the Miller Method focuses on is a very simple approach to making sure it's sustainable longevity in terms of the actual weight loss. When you say the word weight loss, but really it's fat loss. And without it being a click, from us needing SEO and getting people to, see it on when they type it in. But that's really what people need to be understood out there, is that it's all about the fat loss and the muscle content in your body. And that's why you want to go to Stephanie and Todd. Between the two of them, with their knowledge, it's just phenomenal. And they're going to be able to use science and metrics to actually coach you versus just making up some random program or typing your weight into a Google calculator that you can go find yourself, by the way, and then say, oh, you should be eating this, but in reality, it's not doing anything for you from a inflammation standpoint. So before we jump off, Stephanie, Todd, any last things that you want to give the audience in terms of value or any of that nature before we close out?
Well, you just brought up about putting your information into a calculator, and those calculators telling you how much you should eat. In our experience, those things are off by 30 to 40% in either direction. And this is why we will not work with somebody unless we actually measure their metabolism. That's how important it is. So if you're using one of those calculators, good luck with
Don't.
that.
Just don't do it, right? Yeah, and most personal trainers, and again, this isn't a knock at any of the PTs out there. They work really hard, and there's some really good ones, but they're not experts, right? You guys are experts on this field, and so
stay in your lane.
yeah, they're just trying to help their client as best as they know how, which is they're utilizing the tools they have.
That's absolutely true.
But at the end of the day, if you're out there and you're like, listen, I really want to understand how to do this the right way and actually live a normal life where I'm not eating out of a Tupperware and cutting out all my delicious treats for 3 months, and then all of a sudden I binge eat it and gain it all back, and it's sad, right? You guys need to reach out to Stephanie and Todd here. And again, I don't know, from the standpoint of many people out there knowing this, but when you do yo-yo, right, the more you yo-yo, actually the quicker your fat comes back onto your body. It's odd. It takes twice as long to lose it the second, third time around, and it basically compounds on top of it, and then it comes back because your body, from a biological standpoint, is saying, oh, I see what you're doing to me again. You're going to starve me, so it's going to take me longer to lose it because I'm going to retain the fat that you already do have. And then the vice versa happens when you start eating again. It's like, oh, got it. We've been starving, so let's pile on the fat here because we're getting ready for whatever season is coming up, whether it's winter or basically based on our ancestral biology. So obviously, again, as you guys can hear it, I'm super passionate, super pumped to have you guys on board as a referral partner of ours, as well as us being able to help your clients and your clients being able to use our service to help their success. So with that, guys, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Simon and Shannon. And with that, as always, stay healthy with Heartland, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.
What